binge listening to many back catalog episodes. So I'm getting to know some of your personalities just through watching those episodes. So it's good to meet you virtually, Neil, and everyone else. So
may I ask how you got yourself here?
yeah, I kind of was explaining that earlier. I actually had to go on a work trip. Well, let me take it a step back before that, because I think it's important to the story, which is I've always been open to we'll say controversial ideas. Let's just put it that way. I'm not even going to say conspiracy theories per se, but just alternative narratives, right? That you might hear out, whatever, in the ether, no pun intended. And so I was going on a work trip to New Orleans, Louisiana, with a colleague of mine, and we always talk about different conspiracy theories or whatever he just wants to chat about. And he said, man, there's something that whenever I tell everyone, they kind of laugh at me and just laugh it off. And I'm like, oh yeah, what's that? And he's like, well, let me put on this podcast. And so he put on a podcast called The Flat Earth Files by a guy named George. And so we listened to that for about 5 hours there and then 5 hours back. And like I was telling the group earlier, it's an okay podcast. It's well done. He's very amiable, right? He's kind. But, throughout the podcast, we'll say several bald assertions, right? Which is always frustrating for me. I like to think that I have some analytical thinking skills, critical thinking. And so, but one of his guests mentioned Nathan Oakley in passing. And I was just like, man, there's got to be some other resources. And ironically, when I typed in, is the earth flat or whatever, it came up with the episode that you guys reviewed today, the dude with his bike and the two sticks. And I watched that for about 30 seconds before. Yeah, no, it was literally the first video I was ever presented on YouTube was that dude's video. And, so after, I watched it for about, I don't know, let's say I watched it maybe 3 minutes. I just couldn't stand the guy. He was annoying the shit out of me. So, so I took some looks elsewhere, but I heard Nathan Oakley in passing. And when I came to watch the shows here, at first, I got to be honest, it was difficult to sit through because I wasn't quite understanding what the format was, right? There's this pre-show, right, where a lot of guys were just seemed to be talking randomly, right? Then there's the show where it seems to always be a video review and this after show. So it took me a while to kind of learn who's who, right? Because there's a lot of you talking on the panel and whatnot. But what kept me coming back was that everything you guys discussed was factual, scientific based, things we can know about the universe or the world we live in, right? And I think that's just kudos to you guys. It's just so refreshing. I think in this space specifically, there's a lot of just ice walls and the Jesuits and the Masons. And again, who knows if they're all involved? I don't know. But the fact that you guys don't necessarily just make those bald assertions without backing them up, I think that's what's brilliant about the show. It's always fact-based, no BS. What do we know? What can we prove, right? What's the truth? And so I just really enjoy it. So yeah, you've sucked me in as opposed to being sucked out of a sky vacuum, right? That would be yeah.
Touche.
But I went to Neil. I actually think you mentioned this guy's name in one of the episodes, and he's a geocentrist. And his name's Dr. Robert Censorship, and he's a Catholic that works in partnership with the Colby Institute there, and they're anti-evolution theory, right? And they debunk evolution, and they debunk heliocentrism, at least to the point that they get to be geocentrists, right? That I would say those are two of the claims they wouldn't disagree with me putting forth. But he wrote a book called Flat Earth, Flat Wrong, 731-page book. I've not read it, but I did watch one of his videos. You guys know Eric Dubay. He has there was a video, Eric Dubay, 20 best proofs for flat Earth or whatever, right? And it's out of his 200 proofs book or whatever, right? And that video had been presented to Robert Censorship. And so he went through this debunking of the 20 proofs of flat Earth, right? And so, because again, I'm a critical thinker. I want to hear both sides of the argument. I want to, hear both positions. And he goes through and, a couple of points he made, I thought, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. But then several of the points, he just never gave a sufficient answer. And it felt a bit wishy-washy, right? And I'm like, which tells me, well, then there must be something to this. So that's when I came across this show here, the Nathan Oakley Show. And yeah, I need to now go back and watch his debunking of Eric Dubé's 20 Proofs again to see what my opinions will be of what he has to say now. And I remember one of his points, well, the flat earthers just don't believe in gravity. And that's the problem, right? And now, having learned a lot from you guys, a lot more anyways, that's not a good counter argument, since gravity isn't proven, and not even the high priest Neil deGrasse Tyson knows what it is, right? So that can't be a good counter argument.
Yeah,
go
sorry,
ahead.
Brian. Just to stop you there while I remember, mate. Just a very quick question. It's a very important question. Did you get here via the algorithm or by hearing Nathan Oakley's name on another channel?
Nathan Oakley's name in passing on a Flat Earth podcast. So definitely would never have found this had I Googled it. You know what I mean? Now, that being said, I think if I think back to it, when I was YouTube searching, not Googling, but YouTube searching Flat Earth or something like that, I'm pretty sure maybe it was Dave McKeegan or Professor Dave or someone that had Nathan Oakley, debunking Nathan Oakley or something like that in one of their titles. So I think I had also seen his name in their algorithm. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, in other words, the anti-flat Earth, one of them had done a debunking video or something. And so I think I had heard his name a couple of times, which made me go search it out and find out
just what
who Nathan Oakley was.
Hey, let me ask you a question. But let me tell you something. No matter how you got here, you found it, stick around and you can't go wrong unless we start going wrong.
Yeah, no. And again, there's no bullshit here. And that's what I love about it. And between Adam and Brian and QE and Nathan and all you guys, I know those are just the names I hear all the time, so I'm not trying to leave anyone out. But Elijah and his understanding of the logical fallacies, just in the few conversations I've heard here on Discord, and Chocolate and his insights that he always brings from a different, or John refracted curvature or whatever, just phenomenal how you guys, and again, I know there's been kind of this debate about should we swear or not swear, or where's the passion, and things like that. But I think it's the passion. I think Arwen has a point. It's what really tells me that you're not just regurgitating a bunch of your own frickin' talking points, because you're willing to disagree and argue with one another. Why? Because you want to make sure you're getting to the truth and not just some religious sentiment, so to speak, right? And that it's about what is factual, what can we prove, and what can we know. And it's really awesome. You guys are doing great work. I wish it weren't suppressed, because more people need to hear it.
Hold on, this swearing is because we want to be able to share it with a larger audience.
No, for sure. I get I totally get it.
And then after a year of being here, go and listen to some ballers talk amongst themselves on a channel somewhere, and you'll hear them all contradict one another and either notice and pretend not to, or not notice.
Yeah, I'm already seeing some of that. Now, look, mainly through your video reviews here, as well as on Ballbusters, right? QE's channel and things like that. So I'm definitely seeing a lot of that doublespeak. But, even, and I've been talking about this now this morning, and it was about me talking with my dad about this, right? And even just hearing the rhetoric put forth from him. And again, it's not like it's his rhetoric. It's what we were all indoctrinated with since we're born, since we're in kindergarten. I think probably everyone here probably shares a similar sentiment to me, in that, look, it just took me 40 years to get here, so it took me a while, but that's probably because it was suppressed or whatnot. So, and again, yeah, this is just anathema, right? Flat Earth is just anathema to the heliocentric religion. So you will be punished. You will be fought at every point, because you are a heretic as a flat earther to their religion. And so it's always going to be an uphill battle for sure. But I commend all of you for sticking with it and doing the work. I think that's the important piece that I see here that I don't necessarily see on other flat earth channels. I hear a lot of, and again, I'm sure they're well-meaning, and at least they can see some of the truth, but it's a lot of, in fact, there was I think it's on Nathan Oakley channel. I saw a video about, you guys probably know what I'm talking about here, but the trees, there are no forests, right? About Devil's Tower being a tree stump, right? And I already knew this going in. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I thought going in, I'm curious what Nathan's going to say here. And after they all kind of did the beginning roundtable, and they all talked about, yeah, maybe there were, these massive giants, and who knows, and maybe there are no whatever. Nathan's first comments out of his mouth were, "Look, I might be the only skeptical one here, but it kind of, and then he showed the picture of the termite mound or whatever he had there, right? Like, guys, it could just look like that, right? But again, what does that present, or what does that mean? It means it's not just Baldur's. What can we prove here, right? And we can't just go down these rabbit holes. As fun as that is, and again, I'll do that any day, right? We can go talk a conspiracy theories. It's enjoyable, it's fun, and there probably are some real truths within all of those. But what can we know? What can we claim? And what can we prove? And that's what you guys do so well. So, anyways, hello. I'm the blind spot. Hopefully, you'll see more of me.
Well, the reason I asked how you got here is because that's proof of YouTube censorship of this channel.
Oh, 100%.